Welcome to Top 5, a show where we count things down from number 5 all the way to number 1. This week, you're cruising around and your favorite song comes on. You just got to turn that volume button all the way up, or the knob, depending on which kind of device you have. This week on Top 5 songs we crank up loud. Rodrigo is here with me. Rodrigo's a music guy.
Yeah.
He's a musical genius. Don't let anyone say differently. So we're going to let...
I have written some songs which I've sung to my family, and now everybody has them stuck in their head. So
See?
But it's mostly about what our pets are eating.
He's the third horseman of the apocalypse. The one that puts the earworm in your head and you die from madness. So, all right, Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 5?
My number 5... I don't know. There's a very good chance that you've heard of this band. This is a band that is also a genre, and that's clowncore. Have you heard of them?
No, I've heard of the genre of clowncore, but I'm not familiar with the group.
Yeah, so clowncore was pioneered by the band Clowncore.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very aggressive, and it's made up of very aggressive and very short songs. So, my number 5 is Hell by Clowncore.
Yeah.
And
these guys look
if
scary.
you listen to it, they're super scary. You gotta listen to it loud. In reality, they're like really excellent musicians.
Yeah.
And you listen to the song and you won't necessarily understand the lyrics because they're screaming them.
Yeah.
But there are things about the song, their songs that are like funny, like musically funny, or just very weird and intricate and interesting, or just very like thrashy. So Clowncore, like their YouTube channel probably I think has like 5 or 6 videos that are songs.
Yeah.
I strongly recommend watching them and like watch the video. Don't just play the song, because watching them do it is part of the fun. At least 2 of the songs on there were recorded inside a porta potty.
Yeah.
So they got one is like one or 2 are recorded inside a van. So even their choice of recording situation is interesting and innovative. So definitely check out Clowncore.
Yeah, I'm watching the Hell one right now as we speak. Interesting. I'm gonna have to, for my number 5, Rodrigo, kind of go back the opposite direction and go with some classical music. Now, I know you might be thinking, classical music. How can you turn classical music up loud? And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are driving in the fall and the leaves are changing colors, and the Bach Cello Suite number 1 in G major, the prelude portion of it, specifically the Yo-Yo Ma version, if you crank that up really loud, you will have the best sensory perception moment in your life. Are you familiar with the Bach Cello Suites, Rodrigo?
I'm sure I'm familiar with them. I just don't remember what
I would tell people, just like your clown core group, that if you just do a search for Yo-Yo Ma and cello, it'll be like the number 1 song that comes up from that. But to be honest, there's something about Bach that I like Brandenburg concertos are also really great to play really loud, but the Cello Suite number 1 in G major, specifically the prelude section, really really good.
I put it on, and I know, I definitely recognize this.
Yeah, it's good. It'll make you cry. It'll bring out the emotions, and you crank that up loud. Whoo! And a really good cello, right, where you can get those reverberations from the low end tones that it produces. That'll shake you up as well. So when we talk about turning music up loud, it doesn't necessarily have to be crazy music. Although I will say the rest of my list is kind of crazy. So that is my number 5. And let's move on now to our number 4. Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 4?
My number 4 is Airbag by Radiohead.
Okay.
But so here's an important piece of information. Um, I really like Radiohead. I love OK Computer, which is the album that this comes from. And Airbag is not the best song in OK Computer. In
Hmm.
fact, I very rarely, like, I pretty much never say, I want to listen to Airbag and put it on, right? But if you're walking by my house and out of the window you hear me blasting Airbag, that means that I am listening to OK Computer from beginning to end, which means something's probably wrong.
Oh no.
Like,
You've
I,
fallen and you can't get up, or kind
yeah,
of something wrong,
yeah,
or
no, no, no.
you've
I've like, I am
spiraled
in
into
such an,
ennui.
I'm such, yeah, in such an emotional state that only having Tom York moan at me for like exactly 47 minutes or however long that album is, while while in an electronic dream state, can get me out of it. So I would say if you walk by and it's Airbag is playing, maybe stay away for a while and don't come back until maybe Let Down.
Yeah. Okay. I get the same way with REM, so I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. But yeah, there you go. All right. My number 4 is a song that is not the original singer doing it. It is a cover song.
Okay.
And even though the person who originally recorded it is super, super famous, I would argue that the cover song is more popular than the original. That's my opinion, just based on what I've seen and so many people covering this version of the song and not the original version of the song. It's also the only song on my list that falls technically into the country music category.
Okay.
I'm talking about Gin and Juice by the Gourds. Uh, Gin and Juice from Snoop Dogg is a banger by itself. But when you get these alt country people doing their bluegrass or whatever rendition of Gin and Juice, it's basically the same lyrics, but with, you know, banjo and whatever else they have going on in there. It is a great song. And anytime, and I know there's so many bad things that happen in here, right? Like they don't censor any of the words for this version of it, just like Snoop Dogg doesn't. And so there's
Sure.
things about things that everybody's doing with women and hanging out on the stoop and talking to a particular woman and the use of drugs and all this stuff. I don't care if my youngest kid is in the car. I'll crank that thing up and sing along with it. And yeah, I'm sure his mind is blown at a tender young age of 10 when he was 10 and was like, what in the heck is this all about? But yeah, Gin and Juice from the Gourds, great song. If you can, it's pretty easy to find because I believe it was the last time they ever performed it live. It is a
Wow.
14-minute take on the song, just like a 7-minute instrumental segue there in the middle before they wrap it all back up in the end. It's already a 7-minute song. But that's a song that'll get me to work and have me hanging out in the truck for a few more minutes with that thing cranked up loud. Gin and Juice from the Gourds, my number 4. All right, we are about to get into our number 3, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
What you got?
So my number 3 is also a cover. Um, it's a very popular song in Latin America called Odiame,
Okay.
which means hate me.
Okay. I'm
Um,
starting to sense a pattern here, Rodrigo.
it was originally written by, actually, I closed down the name of the original creator, but I'm not talking about the original version. At some point, and I think it was maybe a band called Los Tres Reyes, which means like the Three Kings,
Uh huh.
um, got a hold of it and they turned sort of like the opening instrumental into like the sickest riff ever. Um, and from then on, every cover of the song has featured that riff at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Um, so if you can, so ODMA, ODIAME, if you can find the Tres Reyes version, there's also a band called La Santa Cecilia
Okay.
out there playing it too. There's like a live version of it that's very good as well. But yeah, look up that stuff first. You can go back and listen to the original as well. But really, that riff that was added to the beginning is so rad that you have to play it loud and then you have to belt out the song once it starts or once the lyrics start.
Nice. Very cool. All right. My number 3. I don't know what it is about this song. It's a super immature song. Everything about it is immature, but at the time that this band recorded it, they themselves very immature, probably still are to an extent. At least one of them's kind of gone off the deep end, I think. Blink 182's What's My Age Again? This is just it's a song about a guy who just can't do anything right. And people are like,
Yeah.
why are you doing these things? What is, and he has to question, what's my age again? Am I supposed to be acting like this at this age? Why am I acting like a 10-year-old? But it is still just a really great song. And it's one, in fact, I enjoy a lot of Blink 182. It was really hard to narrow down just one song from Blink 82 that I really, really like. But What's My Age Again is that the Take Off Your Pants? No, I can't remember if that's from Enema of the State or Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, but I'm pretty sure it's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. That's my number 3 right there. Yeah. Okay, we are about to enter into our top 2, but before we do that, I just want to remind people that if you enjoy this show and you want to see it continue, and you want to see us cover a variety of different topics far into the future, all you need to do is point your browser to our Patreon page, patreon.com/major spoilers. That's the site. That's where you need to go. And for as little as $2 a month, although $5 a month unlocks all the bonus content, you can unlock bonus content and get hundreds of hours of material from your very first day that you sign up for that silver level $5 a month membership. It keeps this show going, keeps everybody here at Major Spoilers somewhat happy, and allows us to continue to do this show. So what are you waiting for? Join the growing throng. What else could we say? The mass movement of people heading to patreon.com/major spoilers. Sign up today.
Ford featuring Blues Traveler.
There you go. Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 2?
My number 2 is a song. It's an opening song from an anime, and I have friends who that's all they listen to is just songs from anime and video games, and I am not that person. In fact, video game and anime songs have to have something very particular going to compete with everything else I listen to on a regular basis. But this song definitely made it. This is the song that was used as the open for the first season of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, right.
It's called Again by Yui, Y-U-I. And it is really rocking. It has some really, it's like good distortion guitars and everything, but definitely gets into this sort of like pre-bridge or like pre-chorus thing that's like really tense before you get like the release of the chorus. It's very good.
That's something I like. And it was probably when I saw this originally where I started really paying more attention to theme songs from anime, but I don't know if it's because of this song. This was released in 2008 or something like that.
Yeah, it's relatively old.
But you do have this kind of very like low-key simmering build where they're telling you about the story, am I lost? Am I in love? Blah, 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 whatever it is. And then all of a sudden it just cranks up and rips into this giant this giant piece. And I think that's what this song does, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I understand why people love and stick to anime opens because structurally they're all very similar. Like they don't sound similar, but the structure is very similar. It's kind of this like slow build up into like this big crescendo because they're sort of based around showing some images that are interesting, then like the show titles, right? Like the name of the show, and then sort of like a coming down on the other side kind of a thing. So I think that predictability is like comforting for people. And then and I'm not saying that that's bad because the artists get to play around within that structure, right? Playing around within a structure is just as takes just as much like musical intelligence and creativity as like breaking down the structure and trying something else, right?
Yeah. Plus, at the same time, if you're just kind of half paying attention, because I noticed this when my youngest son is watching his anime, you know that the show is starting because you hear the music kick in. But if you really want to see all of the characters all at once, when it hits
Yeah.
the crescendo, it's like, okay,
I
time to
mean,
look up and see everybody do their cool spin in move and all of that stuff until you strike
I
the
mean,
final pose.
there are several like TikToks and YouTube videos and probably Vines from back in the day of like people doing anime opens, like just picking a random song,
Yeah.
and they are like they'll like appear, and then two people are like facing away from each other and like drifting away from each other slowly,
Uh
and then like a shot of the sun and then some birds flying, right?
huh.
Yeah.
I didn't put any anime songs on here, although, if it's on your list, I don't want to spoil it. But now that I think about it, I didn't put Tank on here
Yeah.
from Cowboy Bebop, because that is also a great. I was just listening to this the other day, a live performance that they did in a studio about a year or two ago, I think I want to say, and it still holds up, and everybody just has so much fun doing
Yeah.
that. So I probably should have put that on my list instead. My number two is a group that I have been familiar with the group forever, but I never listened to it because back in the 80s, Rodrigo, I don't know if you have heard about in the 70s and the 60s. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever heard about this little thing called the Satanic Panic.
I have heard of it, yes.
And if you were, growing up in conservative America, you didn't want to listen to music that was heavy metal because it was
Right.
all about the Satans and the drugs and the rock and
Mhm.
roll, and that stuff is going to drag you straight down into hell. So it took me a while before I finally was like, what is this song? It's really cool and I really like it. And I really love turning it up really loud. And then it had occurred to me that, oh no, I'm listening to Satan's music. I'm listening to the AC/DC. And their song Thunderstruck is just a great song top to bottom. It is one that, along with my number one, you can play this at a stadium, or at least the first opening bits of it. And people start getting pumped. People start getting excited. People start knowing that it's time for the action to start. And I've seen so many different versions of Thunderstruck, from the original from AC/DC all the way to somebody
Mhm.
playing it on, I don't know what the musical instrument is. It's a Japanese musical instrument that looks like a guitar laying down on its side, on its back. It's not a
Oh,
zither, but it looks like that. And this woman just wails on this thing. Go
is
and
it
look, and
like a Kodo?
it might be, yeah,
Koto? Kodo?
it might be.
Koto?
And then there is a kid on YouTube. You can go look it up. Look for a ukulele cover of Thunderstruck. And here's this kid just wailing on a ukulele playing Thunderstruck. And he does a magnificent job. So Thunderstruck is quickly becoming one of my all-time favorite songs, along with War Pigs and other things.
Sure.
But and I realize Ozzy Osbourne, different group, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thunderstruck is
Same
a
generation though.
yeah, exactly. Thunderstruck is a heck of a song. And when you start hearing it, when you hear that guitar start playing and then the drums starting up, you better turn your radio all the way up as loud as it can go, because you're in for a fast 4.5 minutes of great song. So that is my number two. We are now at our number one, Rodrigo, and I'm interested. We've had a very diverse range of music so far.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see what your number one song is.
So my number one song to play loud is probably a weird choice. I don't think a lot of people would pick it. Um, but I really like it. It's I Want to Live by the Talking Heads.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the reason why a lot of people wouldn't pick it is because the Talking Heads have some really catchy, weird songs,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, I Want to Live is not one of them. It's like pretty straightforward, but um, the reason why it needs to be played loudly is because the bass is just bonkers. Tina Weymouth, I don't know. The bassist for the Talking Heads is just going Super Saiyan on this. And it's a shame to get through the song and not spend some time listening for the bass. So crank it up, you turn up the bass in your subwoofer, but not too much. You don't want to break it, guys.
That is the
Most of you are burning out your subwoofers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be nice to your equipment, okay?
If,
It doesn't need to be cranked all the way to the top to vibrate your car a little.
No,
bit.
my subwoofer is like, I think it's only set to like 1 or 2, and it shakes the home theater, and the home theater is on concrete in the basement. So
yeah,
very cool. All right, so if AC/DC's Thunderstruck is the song that you play at the beginning of a sports event to get everybody pumped, my number 1 is actually 2 songs that you have to play back to back because it will get everybody excited as well. And they're 2 short songs, so if you play them together, you can make quite the statement. And that is Queen's "We Will Rock You," followed immediately by "We Are the Champions."
Sure.
It's classic. Turn it up, get everybody pumped. I can even when the kids were young, 7, 8 years old, maybe even younger for the youngest one, I could get them to clap along with "We Will Rock You." Even my wife will get into that when that song plays. So don't underestimate the power of Queen, and especially these 2 songs, "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions." Play them back to back. I think that's how they are on. Crap, what album is that? I don't think I know it's on the Best Of.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that on the original album, I have to look, that they're also back-to-back songs because they just transition so nicely into one another. And I know
the world. Does that sound right?
That sounds right. I know some people would say, "Oh, you didn't put Flash on there." It's like, yeah, Flash is fun, but "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions" are much, much better. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our top 5 songs that we crank up really loud. We've given you a lot to listen to. Between the 2 of us, you probably got a good, 45, 50 minutes of music.
Sure. We should make this a Spotify playlist.
Oh yeah, that really would be good
on the Patreon. Or
yeah. Send me your list, and I'll make a playlist for everybody. I'll either put the YouTube videos in there for you to listen to in a playlist, or put it up on Spotify where you guys can get that. But there you go. Our top 5 songs that we crank up loud, and we hope you will too. What are the songs that you thought were going to be on our list? Were you hoping for something from Bare Naked Ladies? Were you expecting something from Ozzy Osbourne? Maybe you were waiting for some Willie Nelson or something along those lines. We want to hear what your thoughts are. Head over to our Discord server. There's a link in the show notes. You can join for free. You can join our growing group of cool people, and you can jump into the top 5 channel, and you can share your top 5 songs that you crank up really, really loud. Other people will listen to it. Other people will read it. Why? Because everyone loves a list. Take care, everyone. We'll talk with you soon.
This podcast is copyright 2024 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.